What's up, good people? Listen, it's Nikki Blends coming again for Legacy Speaks. Today's topic: when taking and going out of town as a service provider, should you let your guests know that you're on vacation? I recently did a poll amongst the individuals that followed me, asking that question of whether or not the stylist or, self-care provider should make a public service announcement of them being on vacation. While there was some mixed people saying that's none of their business, and other people were like, yeah, the common courtesy, that would be kind for us to know. It made me think that in a lot of cases, I think as service providers or professionals, there comes a place where we have to separate personal and business. It's so easy to get caught up in translation because of the individuals that continually invest in our business as we invest in them, of feeling this sense of entitlement of having access to us in a way that they otherwise don't. Because the last time I checked, I don't know when I knew when my doctor was going on vacation or some public service announcement from my dentist. If they're available, they're available. And if they're not, they're not. So here's my view and take on it. I personally feel that when it comes down to being a service provider, me being a barber, there should not be a public service announcement that specifies that a person is on vacation. Now, before you say, hold up, my people are my family, we're close, they deserve to know, I want you to just take a moment and hear me out. One being that in a lot of cases, when you're busy, do you take and make a public service announcement to say, hey, I'm busy this week, or I'm booked this week and I'm gonna be unavailable? 9 times out of 10, you do have some people that do it, but other cases, people just assume that you're busy because when they go to your books, they see that you're unavailable. But when you take and allow that personal information to be provided, it can be taken multiple ways. One way that it can be taken, that, say for instance, if you're a person and you're going on a week-long vacation, right? But then you decide, I'm going to go on vacation the following week. That person could say that you're unavailable, failing to realize at 37, this is the first time you've ever had a break. And they could take and get to the place of feeling like, oh, I'm going to reach out and see when an appointment is available, despite already knowing that you're on vacation. So that's uninterrupted time that you could essentially have if they just perceive your books to be busy. The other piece is that people could start to count your pockets. When people take and realize, oh, you spent this much money for this particular service, and in a lot of cases, is a touchy subject within the self-care industry as prices continue to increase, and people not understanding that price increase is not to take and supply or to fund my luxury life, but it's a means of survival. But a lot of people don't see it as such. So they could take it as though you're going on vacation. Oh, you just did that price increase. You taking my money to go on vacation, when in actuality, that's not the case. So many times people can misinterpret things just based on the perception in which they may be looking at it. And so instead of them saying, you know what, you deserve a vacation, you know what, I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to bother you, having that specific detail of knowing that you're on vacation could cause people to be in their feelings. The next thing is, if a person sees that you're on vacation for a week and says that you're unavailable, then they'll start potentially go find somebody else to fulfill that service. Now, while you say, well, one goes out the door, another one will come in, that is very well true. But in that same effort, what would happen if they went to your books, saw that it was blocked off, and that you weren't available? No questions asked. What do you think they would assume? You're booked. You're busy. And so with that being said, the personal information may not be necessary to give out because that could leave room for other interpretation. Now, who cares? But in that same regard, that same common courtesy of them taking and knowing that you're going to be unavailable should already be expressed, whether you're on vacation, whether you have a boatload of people coming in. And so with that being said, you never want to set yourself up where we start to blur those lines between professional business and personal, and people feeling as though they have access to you in a way that they shouldn't because of it being business. And then on top of that, them not being able to take and weaponize the fact of you living too, because we have to, on the time in which they desire to have you. And 20 years of experience within the industry, I've seen people come and go. I've seen people be upset because of me not being available to them, because of them feeling like they have some sense of ownership of entitlement because of the investment that they've made in the business. But again, when was the last time you seen somebody handle a doctor like that? When was the last time that you seen somebody take and go to these major corporations and handle them as they do with the self-care industry? It's time that we set a standard and we stop settling because of people thinking that we're not professionals. It's time for us to start conducting ourselves professionally and having an expectation where individuals are having to rise to, as opposed to just settling and chasing money. Yo, as always, people, grace and peace.